My name is Tracy Ariel, and I am unapologetically Canadian. Happy New Year! It's 2020. I cannot believe that we're starting a new year. Uh, and I can't believe we're starting a new decade, and it's 2020. When I was a kid, I thought that we would be riding around in little personal jets by this time and that things would be completely different. And instead, I'm facing a climate crisis that's bigger than we've ever seen. We've got tragedy in Australia, uh, tragedy here in Quebec. We actually have a government that uh, dis- is xenophobic, and now they've decided to change the ethics and culture course. We have so many grave situations. So the way I'm going to handle this is the same as always. I'm going to be positive. We're going to go forward, and my 2020 resolutions. This is of course, since we're beginning of the year, I always start with a year with resolutions. And why it's important to do those, because you can't create something if you don't have a vision of what you want to be. So my vision is that we can solve this climate crisis, that we will, obviously we've done everything we can individually, and now we need some collective action. And I'm confident that we will work together to do that. And by the way, welcome to Megan and Harry. So excited to hear that you're going to be spending part of your time in Canada. This is really good news, and I love that you're looking at financial independence. You've joined the financial independence movement. Talk about a movement that has legs, and you've decided to join Canada, and I'm just so excited to welcome you to part-time living here. And I really hope that next time when you ask for a meeting with the Queen, she'll actually say yes. Uh, Congratulations on your move. And I don't know if you've checked out their website, but I highly recommend it. It's clear, and it tells exactly what they hope to do, and yet it also talks about who they are without discombobulating their roles as public figures and their personal side, which is also one of my goals for 2020. I'm going to divide up my personal life from my business life. Although I've always seen them as very distinct, I've never taken on, despite the fact that I love Chris Ducker's Youpreneur movement, I've never conflated my brands and my business life with my personal life. I've always kept them quite separate, and I'm going to continue doing that in 2020. And it's actually going to be a little bit cleaner than it was, because as you know, I mentioned in my last roundup, I've turned Notable Nonfiction into a company, which is a publisher of courses and books and uh, workbooks, everything connected with yeah, books, workbooks, and courses. That will also be so those all of those things that where I have to license my copyright to. I am going to be continuing to be an author, a journalist, and a creative entrepreneur, because obviously my blog posts, this podcast, any journalism that I do is going to be under my own copyright, which means I'll be signing contracts for that or setting up that independently. I want to make sure that I have very clear copyright, and everything that would normally be licensed, like a book or something that has a limited time period to it, then those will be going through Notable Nonfiction Limited, and which is Documentaire Remarquable in French, in case I decide to do some books in French or Portuguese, which I'd love to do, and Spanish. I've been taking up Spanish a little bit, and I plan to do more of that in 2020. On the personal side, that's my personal update. My personal word for this year is share. Uh, as you know, I've had personal words of creativity, community. I've changed my entire life because of my taking on community as as an action, local. So now I'm going to be taking on share, which should be really fun. My websites are still, my business plans are almost done. Because I've differentiated, I've created 3 business plans. Well, actually, I'm co-creating one, so that won't be done for a while. That's the Cause business plan. We're now 5 years old, the nonprofit cooperative that I helped co-found 5 years ago. So we're taking another 5-year plan so that we can move forward with helping Verdunners become live basically eat locally all year round. And so the farmers markets, the aquaponics, the mobile app, the recipes and things will all still go under that. Although personally, I'm also creating a series of cookbooks that will be gluten-free and so that people can live seasonally even if they're on a gluten-free diet. So the first one should be coming out on, the first one will be spring, which will come out on March 21st. That's the one that I'm working on now. And I'm revamping my basic gluten-free cookbook too, so that the 2 of them will be released at the same time, and eventually there will be 5, the basic one plus one for each season. And I'm combining, even though I told you before I have 8 seasons, instead I'm combining them. I'm only going to do spring, summer, winter, and fall for the cookbook because I think that that's a really clean, if you eat seasonally and you divide it up into 4, then it can be really clean. So that's on that side. On the historian side, I'm still working on the family history and genealogy. And so I've been revamping my Profile Your Ancestor course, and that will be launched also in the spring, I believe. The Profile Your Business course is about to be launched. I'm really excited about that. Profile Your Business is my course that helps people go through tell their story about their business. And as I said, I really believe in separating your personal brand from your business brand. And so Profile Your Business is really the story about the business and what it's trying to accomplish in the world. And I got some really interesting ideas from Marty Niemeyer. He's written a book called Scramble. As you know, I've also been looking into behavioral science, and so a lot of people who work on behavioral science, I've been looking at their book, and I just read the book Scramble from Marty Niemeyer, and he points out 3 things. He says that a company has a purpose, which is never changing, a vision, and a mission. The vision is obviously how things look in the world, and the mission is what you're doing right now. So just on the notable nonfiction, the purpose of that is to publish true nonfiction in the world. So that includes courses, books, any project that is emphasizes truth and accuracy. And so that's notable nonfiction's purpose. But the vision that I see for it is because I'm using it for my own work and any work that I'm collaborating with, I see it right now and this is for the next 10 years, as a very strong imprint of all works associated with Tracy Ariel as an author and a teacher. So that will be courses, that will be books, that will be, like I said, the things that are short-term products, not my opinion pieces, not my journalism, and not my podcast or blog, which is completely about my personal identity as a creative entrepreneur. So that will separate, I think that will be separating things very, very nicely so that I can create clean licenses for products. The vision that I see of that is actually to have a whole series of products for each. So for example, Profile Your Business right now is a course, but eventually it will be a book, and it will be a workbook and an audio book and all of those sides as well. So Profile Your Business is a very important product under the notable nonfiction brand. So, to give you a different idea, CAUSE, which is the co-op, our purpose is to help people, particularly the people in Verdun, uh, eat seasonally, eat year-round. It's not going to change. It doesn't change, but the vision has changed incredibly since it first started. When it first started, we were thinking about opening up a store, one single place, and instead we've created pop-up markets. We have an aquaponics location and a shed at Grand Potager, but we don't have one place. We have three places at the moment. And so that's completely different than what we thought we were creating at the beginning. We also, at the time, were a workers' co-op, and we expected the organization to be creating local economy jobs. And it ended up being not creating very many jobs at all. As a matter of fact, we still don't have any full-time employees. But what we did create is a bunch of nonprofit projects. And so now we are a nonprofit solidarity co-op, which means that we now have more than 150 members. We're moving forward. So our business plan for the next 5 years, we'll be developing that concept even further. But our purpose hasn't changed from the beginning. It's always been local abundance. And now we've cleaned it up a bit in terms of now we're talking about local abundance in terms of food, growing your own food. But I mean, the local abundance food has never changed. The purpose is still the same. But the vision and the mission have changed because those things do change. So it's pretty exciting. I'm really excited to clean up that. In terms of other parts of the resolution, so yes, so as I finish the business plans, then the websites will be cleaner and we'll be moving that forward on all. So basically, I now have 3 different websites that I'm working on. I also have a few nonprofits that I work with. I still work with the Professional Writers Association of Canada, and we're actually in a big, huge transition. Next week, we'll be having a meeting to determine whether we fold the organization and combine with the Canadian Writers Guild to create a new organization, which will be a union for freelancers, creative freelancers of all types, not just writers. So that's really exciting. I'm very excited to see how that moves forward and to collaborate with so many other creators in Canada. Safe EMF, which is the project that talks about electromagnetic fields and the danger there, and works on getting more research and understanding and safety on that part, is also underway. That's another project, another personal project that I'll be cleaning up in 2020. I'm still going to be working on it. I'm quite excited to see where that goes as well. We'll be talking at the CRTC is holding hearings, so we'll be talking about that. I really think that we're in a stage where the companies actually fully know that electromagnetic fields are dangerous, and they've even talked about how they will protect people from them, and yet they're still refusing to participate in making people safe easily. There's absolutely no reason why my husband should have had to create a nickel titanium lined pouch so that I can wear my phone when I listen to podcasts, when the companies know that they could make things safer for people. They can't make them 100% safe. No product is 100% safe. And I think that, but they can make them safer, and they can admit that it's not just heating that causes a problem, but that these also cause a problem biologically. And I'm really hoping that the movement changes from right now. It's a dichotomy between people say, oh, they're 100% safe, there's absolutely nothing to worry about, and people who understand that that these things are a problem. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that moves forward as well. In terms of other, in terms of the rest of my resolutions, so I have I'm continually working towards financial independence, and I was really inspired by a podcast with an interview done by the people with Self-Publishing Show. They did an interview with somebody from the financial independence movement, and the financial independence movement had, in that particular interview, they talked about three different facets. Basically, invest well, spend less, make more. And so I thought that was a really clean way to present financial independence. And since I've been learning about personal investing, I'm going to continue doing that in 2020. And I'm also going to be focusing on earning more. Cleaning up my business offers will hopefully help me do that. Obviously, you'll be seeing a lot more launches from me this year. Profile Your Business is going to be launched in the next week. Profile Your Ancestor will be launched shortly after that. Profile Your basically Right to Grow, which is my personal project, will be launched after that. If you want to support any of those projects, I look forward to working with you. Also, if you just want to have a strategic call with me, I offer half-hour strategic calls for $50. And you can also work with me to create a book. And that usually creating a book can work out anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 as a process, depending on how much you want me to do and how much you want to do. So those are the offerings that I'm going to be improving in 2020 as well. So I think that's it for me. I look forward to presenting. I was telling you last week about an interview that I've done with Evelyn, and I'm looking forward to presenting her process, which is called Evolve, to you next week. And in the meantime, welcome to 2020, and I hope that you're planning on a bumper year as well. And looking forward to presenting you a podcast every week. And these, actually, I should tell you what's happening. So for those of you who are following me on video, I'll still be doing one video a month about the creative entrepreneur life. And that will also be a podcast with Unapologetically Canadian. So that's about a personal update and how things are going on the resolution side and what creative entrepreneurship is. The Unapologetically Canadian people, you can continue to look forward to having interviews with individuals who are artists, entrepreneurs, food people, farmers. I have some really interesting farmers coming up. I interviewed, actually there'll be one in French coming up because I interviewed the farmer who does our fruit for the market. I'm looking forward to presenting that. I also interviewed Miriam and Paul from Wildflower Farms. That will also be coming. They've created an incredible business out of their love for wildflowers, and I'm looking forward to presenting that. And I have one coming up with Lucy Anglin, who is one of my colleagues in genealogy on SOM. She's amazing, and she's also a textile artist, and so you'll continue to get some fabulous interviews with Canadians who are making a big move. And as always, I'll be finishing every podcast interview with them about what is a Canadian, and what are you a Canadian and why. And so I should finish in 2020. Yes, I am still a Canadian, and to me, Canadians, being a Canadian means multiculturalism. I'm really taking a stand on that, considering what the government in Quebec is now doing. So I will continue to say bonjour, hi, because to me that's part of being Canadian, is that I get to be both an Anglophone and living in French in Quebec, and I plan to continue doing that. I also think that being a Canadian is helping out in the world, so I'm really happy to see that we're sending water bombers and firefighters to Australia, and my heart is with everybody in Australia right now. We are with you. and climate change. I think that Canada has a big opportunity to help combat climate change in a collective fashion, the way we've created a federal country, which is more collective than it is individual, right next to the biggest individual country in the world. So I think that we can help create collective action for climate change too, and I'm really proud of that, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it. So here's to solving the world's problems in 2020. Thanks. Thank you for listening to Unapologetically Canadian. This episode was brought to you by Aerial View Courses. Our courses are designed for people who are curious about creativity, growth, and resilience. Sign up today.